Hey guys, I want to show y'all how I buy a real estate property out of state from end to end. If you feel like it's tough to invest, investing out of state can get you in a property for less than you think. I've personally invested in Nevada, Indiana, and Florida, so I'm hoping that this experience will help. This is a multi-part series to make it easier to watch, so please drop a like and subscribe if it helps you out. Welcome to part 1 of the series. In this video today, we're going to cover the investment expectations, choosing a rental market, and an actual property search and analysis. First, let's set some expectations. I'm investing out of state for 15% cash-on-cash returns to pay for my living expenses and the ability to take a leisurely trip from time to time. Next, we need to have a price range and a loan situation sorted out. In my case, I'm not doing FHA, which is 3% down. I'm doing a conventional 25% cash down payment for a rental property type loan, which is called an investment loan. Since I had about $50,000, I was targeting about a $200,000 price since that's 25% down. As for the type of property, I'm looking for a turnkey property where there's little to no renovation needed. Now we need to find a market. When looking for a house that I'm renting to someone, I want a property in a landlord-friendly state. That's because if you're investing, you want to make sure that you have the rights and control over your house and that you won't encounter a situation where a renter has way more rights than you do. I also want a state with no estate income tax, which makes it easier on my tax filings at the end of the year, especially since I filed them myself. So with this criteria, it limits me to a couple of different states like Nevada, Texas, and Florida. Some other bloggers like Bigger Pockets and Financial Samurai will show that the heartland of America has the highest returns. And that is generally true. People investing for cash flow are most likely to invest in the Midwest and southern states. This includes states like Indiana, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. However, I ended up picking Florida because it's landlord friendly, there's no state income tax, there are high cash flowing property compared to the price, decent jobs, a high retirement population, a booming tourist hotspot, and I personally know people that are doing well in the Florida market. So now it's time to pull out some applications, starting with REDFIN for our home search. I'm going to specifically find places that have renters only so I can cash flow immediately. We're going to start here, open up REDFIN, and we're going to look at Orlando, Florida. So we're just going to type that in there and then search with a 30-mile radius. And doing my research, I found that the longest renters would stay in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home near good schools. As for the build year, let's also add houses built after the year 1980 because we want to avoid things like copper plumbing and lead paint issues. These are things that I encountered in a previous rental that I decided were not really worth it anymore going forward. Now we're looking at a beautiful map of houses here. We're going to make 3 different searches with 3 different types of keywords. 1, we're going to enter the keyword lease down below where it says keyword here in REDFIN, and then we're just going to take a look at the results. So we get some results and we're just going to comb through it, but it's essentially looking for the word lease in the MLS description. Once you're good with that, save that search and then do the same thing for the word tenant and then for the word rent. So save all 3 of these searches. Now we have the searches where we can find tenants in place in these rental properties. So as part of this search, I ended up encountering a particular home that caught my attention. So as I mentioned in my search, I have rent, lease, and tenant as keywords. Here's a townhouse going for $180,000, which is pretty much kind of like a duplex setup. If you read the description here, you can see where the word lease is called out, $800 and $1,500. That's a total of $2,300 in rents. Also, what's cool about REDFIN is it has the REDFIN mortgage calculator. It shows you the principal, the interest, the taxes, the insurance, and even the HOA if it so applies. So what I like to do with this information is I'll plug this data into a calculator to see if it's a good deal. Remember, my benchmark is 15% cash-on-cash return. So if I like what I see, I'm going to proceed with it. And here's how I calculate my cash-on-cash return. This is REDFIN calculator on the left, and on the right I have my own calculator. Since there's 2 incomes of the property, I'm putting them right here. And with the 2 properties, I have the 2 property management fees right here, which are 8% each. We have 0 lease renewal fees for my contract, HOA at $150, and then estimated utilities, but since I did go through a couple months of them, now I have the actuals down here. And if we take the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, that comes out to the $877.32 in the PITI section. Now if we highlight all the expenses, we get $1,634 as the expense amount in total, and we have $2,275 in rents, and that equals $640 in cash flow when you deduct the expenses from the income. And to do the cash-on-cash return, we take the $640 in cash flow, multiply that by 12 to get $76.90, and then we want to divide this by the down payment, which is $49,109. That gives us a cash-on-cash return of 15.6%. As part of investing out of state, research common issues and weather. Some of you asked me in my previous video about Florida. Since it's in a flood zone, much of you asked me if I'm worried about floods. So yes, of course I am, but there are ways to minimize this. One, you have insurance, and two, you have the ability of technology. You're able to look at a flood map. So you're able to pull up a site like this, and you're able to see for this particular property that there is low risk of flood. I also like to look at areas with low crime because I don't want to put tenants in places of high crime. Alright, so we've taken this sample property, and I feel like we found a great property here. So there you go. I've done my preliminary research on the prominent sites, pulled together goals, a location, and a property type. Part 1 is done. In the next video, part 2, we're going to cover the network, including the realtor and property management team. If you guys like this video, please drop a like down below. It really helps me out and lets me know that you guys are interested in this type of content. Drop a comment down below with what you think. If there's something that I can improve on, I'm willing to hear it. And other than that, I hope that you guys subscribe, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.